Welcome to this recording of Live to 121. This is Dr. Justin Traveler, and what you're about to listen to was a live recording. So as I refer to days and things like that, just know that I am referring to whatever is happening at that very moment. And if you want more information, please follow or subscribe to us. We're on YouTube, Instagram, we've got a podcast, Facebook, website, all Live to 121. And our mission and purpose is to inspire everyone around us to want to live a longer, fuller life. But really, it's to live to 121, or at least make it feel that way. Meaning, you do what you love, and you love what you do. And we want everyone to feel young and healthy at whatever length of life they want to live. So enjoy the following recording. And also, if you have any questions or comments, please put them below and we'll respond quickly. Enjoy. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. This is Dr. Traveler with Live to 121. Our goal and mission is to help people want to live a happier, healthier life, to want to live longer, and to actually do that successfully so they can feel good. Now, this week our challenge has been weight loss. I'm going to stray from that just because I don't know why. I know everybody's putting in their 2 cents for what's going on right now. I don't want to even attempt to say that I am qualified to give any advice to anyone, especially those leaders who are trying to make the decisions, but I did want to just kind of weigh in. I think it's important that we understand one another, and so here's my attempts. I hope that it is successful, because I have my mind has just been going left and right with what's going on. I think it combines with the COVID-19 stuff, but obviously with what's going on, I guess you'd say racially, and some of the controversy that's been going on in our country. Here we go. I can remember when I was in debate, okay, in high school, and for the first time I experienced, so I was trying to win. You're trying to win the debate, and for the first time my debate teacher said, okay, we are going to pick these sides. And I can even remember that it was abortion. Abortion was what we were talking about. And so first we, argued our points of what we thought for and against. And then we had to switch places, okay? And because I wanted to win, right, I experienced for the first time, I think, true empathy, where I had certain values and opinions on a subject, but I was able to put myself in the shoes of someone else that had different opinions than I do, and actually understand where they are coming from, okay? And so I can remember thinking, wow, I've never felt this way about this particular subject, but here I am arguing, and I actually have some really good points, and I was able to understand. Again, I don't think we necessarily have to agree on all points, but to understand and put yourselves in the shoes of people who may be suffering and having challenges. So I can remember that. And I can also remember going up against a guy, friend of mine. He was really good. For those of you, Mark Carlson, he's an attorney today, right? And does great. But he always won, even when you'd switch. And so I've also learned that when people are good at arguing and eloquent speakers, they can make a point, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong, but I think that we kind of see that where some people will make these points, and it's oftentimes difficult to know what is the right or wrong. We've dug our heels in many instances, and I think it's important that we get other opinions. So what I wanted to do right now is give my initial response. I am in white America. I understand that I was raised by 2 parents who loved me very much. I had a lot of opportunities, and I understand that. So my initial response when I saw these protests was, anger towards the protesters. That was my initial response. I said, this is just silly. What are they trying to accomplish? It just makes no sense. And I think that a lot of my friends and those who I hang around with, that was our initial response. And I think that that's kind of normal. But then I started to reflect upon some experiences that I had. So when we lived in St. Louis, we wanted to move into a home. I didn't want to rent. I didn't want to throw my money away on rent. And so here I was, a student. We didn't have much money at all. And so we moved into this neighborhood, and we were one of two families that were white. The rest were all African American. And again, our initial response when I bought the house without my wife seeing it, and we just, growing up in Utah where you don't experience a lot of racial diversity, our initial response, I will admit, was somewhat fear-based. We were afraid in some cases. But we had this opportunity, and both of us really sat down and we said, let's just try and love and understand. And so we did. One day, these neighbors who we had kind of a fear of, because there was markings. There was like these shoes over the telephone lines, and people said that where that was, they're drug dealers. Now, I can't confirm nor deny whether that was true, but we were scared of them. Okay? And one day, I saw him out struggling with his vehicle, and we had an old piece of junk car that we were not going to be using. I was driving our other vehicle, and we had this old car. And so I went over and I just said, hey, you need this vehicle. We're not using it right now. And like his initial response was, who is this white guy and what's he trying to do? What's the catch? And I just, I'm not saying that I'm holy or did something, but it was just an opportunity that I saw to reach out to this neighbor. And you know what? We ended up having such a great relationship with them, with all of our whole neighborhood. I mean, they embraced us. We embraced them. I saw a lot of stereotypes and thoughts about each other that were dropped. And you know what? We had nothing but positive. I would help mow their lawn occasionally. If I saw it needed to be mowed, then I would mow it. They would take our garbage out. It was just like the normal thing. And we went back a few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, and my wife and I went out in front of that house, and we wept. We cried. And I looked at my wife and I'm like, why are you crying? And like and she's like, I don't know. We just had such a good relationship with that community, and where walls were taken down, and we just we were able to put one another. We were able to see again, like I start out. We could see the perspective from where they were at. Okay. And so I know that we've been able to do that before. Now, I am not going to try to attempt. I feel for our community leaders, for those who are truly trying to find a resolution to this. I've seen some really cool stuff. I read this thing about, and okay, so now I want to turn to like my initial anger. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, that the police were right or wrong. I'm not saying that the rioters were right or wrong. But I remember reading something in a Simon Sinek book about terrorists, and that there was someone who said that they realized that terrorists just lacked hope. And so they would come over and they would terrorize because that was they didn't have any hope. They thought, well, it doesn't matter if I live or die. It doesn't matter what happens because I have no future anyway. And as I looked at some of these people who were looting, and that was the thought that I had that same when I read that book. Just, I don't know if I can truly put myself in their shoes, but a lot of these people, now there are probably some bad ones too, and there's some bad cops, but for the most part, I think everyone is trying to do the very best that they can. And for a lot of these people making choices that are not good, I think many of them may just lack hope. I hope that's the case. And I feel for them in that case. It doesn't, again, justify what they've done, but I've never been in that position. I've always had hope, and and really joy and a positive perspective. There's always been potential in my life, so I don't know how they may be feeling right now. Okay? So all I can say is that as individuals, I can't fix it. But, okay, so and I'm going back to Simon Sinek. So this guy went in and he decided to give like these micro loans to these people where most terrorists were coming from. And it was able to really drastically reduce the amount of terrorism because he raised their ability to have hope. So, I don't know. That's one idea. I don't know if that will work, but all I know is really as a community, I don't know how to fix this, but as an individual, I have made individual covenants. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I've made covenants to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort. And I know that my people, that my ancestors and those, we've been oppressed. I've read these books, the saints' books, and those who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ. If you read those books, I mean, we were oppressed. The government took our temples from us, and in some cases we responded with violence. And again, that's not right. But that was the situation that they were in. I'm taken to a thought. Because this has lived to 121. I'm a Tom Brady fan. I don't know if necessarily for football, but because he's like defying age, you know. And so I've looked at the Patriots, and I think it's really cool with the Patriots that a lot of their success does come from their coach. Tom Brady gets some. I do think he's a great player, but Bill Belichick has oftentimes said, do your job, know your job, and each individual player knows what their job is, okay? So the way that I'm looking at this is if we look at that and say, what is your job as a covenant-keeping disciple of Jesus Christ? My job is not to judge, okay? And that was my initial response, and that was wrong. I wasn't doing my job. My job is to love and to try and understand, to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort. And if we just do our job, which our job is not to judge, but it is to love and try to understand, I think we'll do a lot better. Last thought, I've said before, I love the late, great Wayne Dyer. He has said, you know, when an orange gets squeezed, what comes out? It's orange juice. And why? Because that's what's inside. And right now, people are being squeezed, okay? And if anything comes out that is not love and understanding, we need to, in my opinion, we need to take a step back and seek empathy. We need to try to put ourselves, like I said back in high school, put yourself in in someone else's shoes and try and truly argue. Not, you know, when you have a choice to be right or to be kind, choose to be kind. And I'm not saying again on either side. I'm trying to not take a stance, I guess, on what was right or wrong, but seek to understand and seek empathy. And if anything comes out other than love and understanding, I think we all need to take a step back and say, is that what I want? If you want to live your best, longest life, if that's what you want, you'll want love and kindness and understanding to come out. And not just in this, but in every case. And on both sides, I think, too, if you can really put yourself in someone else's shoes for real and try and truly say, how are they feeling and how could I argue their position and not just dig your heels in, but understand where people are coming from. I think that will help us out. So that's the challenge. I always want to say, I hate it when people just give their opinions and we don't have something physical to do, but that would be my challenge. Maybe sit down with your spouse or someone that you love and say, can I argue on the side of someone else and try and find out how they're really feeling? And I found that for me that's been helpful, and I think that can help us all on again, both sides. That's my thought for the day. It's a little long probably, and I hope it helps someone. But that's it. Okay. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Talk to you later.